Okay. So in case any one of you want to get this video, just send me an email. You can send me an email or either to info@auxalia.com or at my personal email address, carsten.beinecke@auxalia.com. I have only a few slides and then I show you or give you a live demo. So we are now here on our 2 p.m. time slot, an overview. In 1 hour, I have the overview of the CAD functions of PlantExpress and then I have the same sessions 4 hours later. And tomorrow there is the 2 and 6 p.m. session about project administration with PlantTools. That's mostly PlantSync and PlantExpress. And then your data at the center. That's also several other PlantTools I showcase there, so you get an idea about what various PlantTools can do in regards to your data. Oops, I wasn't done. A few more slides, few more. Okay, so where are we? So Auxalia, yeah. Most of you may not know the name Auxalia. We just, or CAD Studio and Bytes and Building here in Germany got together officially July 1st, and we are now the biggest Autodesk partner in BIM for in the German-speaking area. So that's Austria, Switzerland, and Germany and Luxembourg, I think. The stats can be viewed here. We are 70 people. These are our headquarters in Hamburg, or our offices in Hamburg. It's our headquarter. But I think that's not that much of an interest for you since you are all over the world. Let's see. Yeah, I'm missing someone from South Africa who actually wanted to follow up. Anyway, so we have currently 8 PlantTools. They are listed here. And I will give you a quick demo of the, let's say, main features. And I forgot to mention this when I did this session in German in regards to development in general, because that's important to a lot of customers. We have these 8 PlantTools, and we have our list of things we would like to develop. However, we also offer to our customers the possibility that if a customer needs a certain feature or functionality or an extension of an existing feature, the customer talks to us, depending on the complexity, maybe we need to sit together and brainstorm a bit. Then we come up with a specification. And if the customer agrees that this, the sentences or the expressions in the specifications are correct, then we send him a quote. And when we calculate the quote, the customer or the customer will not pay if he then orders the quote. He will not pay the full development costs, because when we develop this feature for the customer, then it will be part or become part of one of the 8 PlantTools. And then that means all of our customers get that feature. So the customer who orders that feature should not be, let's say, feel the pain because he was the first one who needed that feature. So that's our philosophy. And currently we have a long list of developments from customers from the US, from Austria and Switzerland, Germany. So, but that's just something I wanted to mention in regards to development. Of course, we have our own functions. And here and there I will mention which functions are actually have been, let's say, ordered by customers. So we don't need to go through that list. You will see them in a moment anyway. Yeah, that's the final slide, but we have to get started first. So I will start with Plant Center. That's our, let's say, tool. When you want to use it, you can start. Well, first of all, you can open your project. I will use my Plant Spec-driven demo project. You can, if you have DWG, but DWG TrueView. yeah, DWG, TrueView installed, then we can use it as a viewer, as you may know. Then you can either already select drawings if you want and can start Plant 3D. If you have, like I have, various older versions or various AutoCAD Plant 3D versions installed or P90 versions installed, then depending on the project, if it's a 2016 project, it would show Plant 3D 2016 or so. You can also select one or multiple drawings, which are then opened when or after Plant 3D has been started. You can also start Plant Reporter and Plant Data Manager, but first let's start with Plant 3D. So it's very simple. And the first, so there is not much more to say about Plant Center. It's just a central starting place. In Plant 3D, what I will do first is show our plant clash detection. Plant clash detection allows you to make a clash detection within Plant 3D without the need of using AutoCAD or Navisworks, for example. Of course, Navisworks has a lot of other advantages, but some customers who want to have a quick clash detection, they can use Plant clash detection. So where in English I have it at the first position. There are some options. First of all, I don't want to go through all the options. So first, let's just run it through. And so maybe I go from the left, then it's easier to see. Let's go back. So if I make a double click, it will automatically zoom on the object. What's happening here? So you see the clashes here, and of course we have the clashes between the two flanges and the valve. So they are listed here. You see the layer name. In this case, it's a line number. The steel is XREF, so there is no layer name here. You can also make, the line also has an insulation, so I can, if I want to include that in the calculation or in the check, I can check this checkbox. And now you see also the collisions here. They are grayed out. This is because of my demo I did in the morning. You can suppress those. Okay, I can restore and I can ignore them. So if they are ignored, they are grayed out, so to speak. You can see all the remaining collisions here and the ignored ones. And you can, of course, then work on the collisions. So that's pretty much it. There are some other options, but this is just to give you an overview. Just want to check if some more people logged in. Nope. Okay, so next, I really have to hurry. Next, I want to show you Plant Data Manager. Plant Data Manager allows you to, that was not the idea, allows you to modify or manage the data outside of your AutoCAD P90 or AutoCAD Plant 3D environment. It's not required that you actually have AutoCAD or any Autodesk product installed on that machine. Since it's mostly used for P90 data because there are all the data, Plant 3D is usually not that important. And since I pre-selected this 3D drawing, it already loads it. So, but this is actually was my fault. I wanted to show the P90 data. So I switched to P90. Takes a little longer now. And then I go to, it's by default, it's project data. So you have all your project data listed here. So I go to equipment, for example, you see all your equipment. And let's make some changes. For example, here there is a tag. So in addition to this grid view, there are different types of grid views. But in addition to that grid view, you also have a properties palette. So you can either add it here or there, it does not matter. They are also floating, so they can be docked or undocked, but that's just in regards to user friendliness. If I use a value which already exists, let's make that here. Maybe I have pump, 001, then you get also the message you are used to in AutoCAD Plant 3D. Then I want to change maybe just crusher. So you simply edit the data, motor, motor, whatever. The changes, yeah, as I mentioned here, you can see them here as well. If you also important to understand, you can work on the data even if your colleagues are still drawing. If they create more objects, you just need to refresh, or as soon as you hit a click on a node, that will be refreshed. You can also work on the data with your colleagues parallel. So if multiple people work on the same project on different machines, you can see the changes of your colleagues in a different color. Currently it's not the case, but you would see them in a different color. And if you hover over them, you would see who made that change and what was the old change, what is the new change, and so on. So you get a lot of information on the tooltip. Okay, if you are done editing or changing your data, I should also show the possibility to use the reports of Plant Reporter. So these are some P&ID reports, and you can see the same changes I made in the grid here in a report. So that's essentially like a preview, or that's the view of your report. And you can use that also for editing, of course. So it's not just viewing or previewing a report, electric motor, for example. So you can actually modify your data here as well. Okay, and there are some other views. Again, that's getting in too much detail now. Let's close PDM and save it. And now I just want to open Plant3D again. This time I did not select any drawing. And when you open the project or a drawing of that project and data are available or changes are available, then you will be notified and you can decide whether you want to import it right now or later. So we wait a few seconds. Also important to understand, if you are used to Plant3D's data manager, then you probably know that you can import only one class at a time. But here with PDM, you can just edit throughout all the classes, all the objects, and then you get the message, and you can either ignore if you want to import it later. You can, if you did the changes yourself and you are sure that the changes are okay, then you just click on accept and then they are imported. But to show you, I want to review the changes first. And our Plant Data Manager plugin palette opens up. You see the changes. Also, the old changes can be viewed here. And you see all the changes. And then like in Autodesk's or Plant3D's Data Manager, you can either accept or reject, or you can accept and reject everything. All the changes which are imported, no, that is not, will be written into a log file also. But that's a different topic at some other time. Okay, so that's just a demo drawing I have here. Okay, next. So this is typically the workflow of Plant Data Manager. Next, maybe I keep the drawing. Oh, I close it again. I want to show Plant Reporter. Plant Reporter was licensed by Autodesk in 2010 from our company. And if you know Plant3D, you know that the reporting tool of Plant3D or AutoCAD P&ID is the AutoCAD Plant Report Creator. And as you will see, it looks very similar to our Plant Reporter. Autodesk just asked us when they licensed Plant Reporter, they asked us to make some changes. But in general, they work the same. However, even in 2010, I was sure that I wanted to make some additions to Plant Reporter, and we continuously add more and more functionality. So what I want to show is the feature to create versions and revisions of reports or lists or data sheets. So I want to use my equipment list. That's actually the report you just saw in Plant Data Manager. And I want to create a report. Since I already did this yesterday for preparation purposes, and today in my first session, there is already a version C or revision C. So what you can do is you can create versions or revisions. They can be incremented automatically. You can decide whether it should be numerical or alphabetical. And if you cannot use either one of those, you can set it to manual, and then you can type in whatever you want. So let's create a new revision. And so I just select this. And you can use, the revision name or the version name or index, I should say, can also be used in the file name, of course. In this case, I create a PDF. I hope in the demo I had in the morning, someone told me or wrote to me, but only one, that they could not see the report. I hope you can see I have the PDF open, and I hope you can see the changes, or not the changes, but the report. So the revision is also shown here, and yeah, that's about it so far. So nothing spectacular, it's just showing the revision. But now it gets interesting if you want to compare versions and revisions. So what I do is I create another report, but now I want to compare. And you can compare any version or revision, or you can make a comparison between any version and revision. So this was my first one from yesterday, and this is the one I just created. Then you can define, do you want to see everything or only the things that changed? Things that changed, objects which have been added or deleted, or do you also want to see the data sets which have not changed? It's really up to you. Let's concentrate on let's add them as well. There are some other options I do not want to concentrate on now because it would take too long. Now we have here A and D. So you also in the PDF file or in the file name, you see the versions or the two versions revisions which are used. So in yellow, you see the changes. You see the change I just made here, and you see old and new. Whether or not you want to have that prefix, it's up to you. You can also decide maybe you only want to see the new value, not the old value, or just the old, whatever. And red means the colors can be changed, of course, but the red means that this pump was deleted between A and D, and this pump was added to that project between A and D, and some other changes here as well. So this is something we added to the functionality of our plant reporter. Okay, I think I have a better time schedule now. Just checking if there are some new users. I think there is one new user. So now let's have a look at our plant spec driven. So I start the project again. Plant spec driven was developed with an Austrian customer who had very high demands on functionality. And we developed it in 2013, and it was finished, I think, in 2014. It's also our, let's say, newest tool, or the one we developed in 2014. And it's one of our most successful tools. And I will give you a quick demo because I could demo it an hour or so. So let's concentrate on first of all the PID side. Okay, so what I will do is I will remove what I have here, and this is from the last demo, so I deleted that. Okay, and I want to open the 3D drawing and remove the piping there, or this one pipe, and then I route a new line in PID, and then I transfer that to 3D. So that's my 3D model, and you saw that before anyway, and that's my P90 drawing. So there are two main parts of plant spec driven, or two main use cases. One is you can now route your pipe or draw your P90, and while you are drawing it, you can already assign from your plant 3D specs the catalog, or let's call it, or the spec data, like long description or weight or short description. Whatever you have in your plant 3D pipe spec can be used in P90. And this is part one. And customers, we have customers who use that even without 3D. They just want to have a more, let's say, a more complete in regards to data, a more complete P90 with some manufacturer data, also with like long description or item code or whatever, prices. It's really up to you. Also, there is an option. Plant spec driven has a lot of options. So there is one option where plant spec driven can also add flanges, gaskets, which are not shown, but they are there. And then you can create a bill of material from P90, which besides elbows and pipes contain everything. So if you want all these features, but it's just a matter of configuration. And then of course the second part is then transferring the P90 and linking it to 3D. And this is what I want to show quickly, just with a simple example. Just need to move here. What you see here, by the way, is our Plant Express Tool symbols palette. I will get back to that in a moment. So what I want to do is I route a pipe or a line segment here. When I'm doing this, plant spec driven can already insert some default flange symbols. They don't contain data yet. So that's it. Now I have a branch here. Okay, and here it's the same. Again, whether or not you want to have flanges or flange symbols, it's up to you. Now I assign a size and a spec, some service, does not really matter, to it, and maybe a pipeline tag. So okay, that I did some. Let's use 1000. Okay, so what's happening now is that the dummy flange symbols are now replaced by other flange symbols, and those are welding neck flanges, or the data behind it. If we look at the properties, I use my own properties palette, and now, oops, then you see, for example, here the part size long description from the Plant 3D catalog. You see the short description. You may see end codes or compatible standard or material, whatever you want. It's up to you what you want from your pipe spec. So now what happens if I insert, let's say, a check valve? So I insert it, and you get flanges because when I inserted the check valve, there is only one check valve in the pipe spec in size 100, and this is a flanged one or using wafer connection. And because of that, plant spec driven knows, okay, I need to show flanges, and because there are flanges, I need gaskets. So let's, before I continue, let's just review this, the tree here. So this tree builds up constantly. So maybe I expand. And then I also want to see the gasket. So what you see here, I can actually shrink that, is the pipeline group, the pipeline segment, and then, or the two segments actually, there's also the branch. And then you have the flanges and the flap here, and another flanges and gaskets in between. So what happens if I insert just a general valve symbol? So let's do this. Come on. And now it does not know what to take, because so we use some sort of acronym, and there is nothing there in size 100, or doesn't make it unique. So what I will do is I will just use that one here, and which is flanged. So it also changes the symbol if you want, and it adds flanges and gaskets and so on. And maybe finally, what do I have here? So here, everything is okay. And another one. Okay, so save this. There is also a feature I want to show at least once. It's called attribute flow. It's part of plant spec driven. So this one here is line number. So the main line and the branch is line number 3000. We also can use T's. And if I change the size here, what will happen is that I'm asked if that should flow into the connected P&ID. And yeah, there are a lot of other things happening. So I changed that to 150. That of course means that this T is now, that's okay. There is no catalog data for that. And now it asks me to connect whether or not to open the connecting drawing and propagate that data or the change 150. So it's just hidden. So it's now also propagate that info. And you can define any property that also comes down to the off-page connector. So you can configure any property of your line segment to be propagated in this way. And since we had a welding neck flange here on the heat exchanger as well, this also is updated. Let me see if I can. There is a size, yeah, it's a size. Should be updated. Yeah. Anyway, so this is what we call attribute flow. So now going back, or not back, but going to P&ID because I have to hurry up a bit. So now I have this line here. I want to route that pipe or that line. So let's see, turn on the, okay. I did not use the correct note. Let's see, there seems to be some graphical issue. There should be a flange already. Anyway, so 3500. Of course, I know the dimensions by now. And let's connect here. Accept. Nope, it's not. No, it's not somehow. No, okay. Anyway, so this is why this flange is still red. That's the P&ID flange, and there is no flange, so it cannot link it. Not quite sure why. Probably I used the wrong, or somehow I did not really catch it. Anyway, then I can insert the flange, the valve here, and it links the valve to the P&ID valve, and the 3D valve flanges to and gaskets to the P&ID counterparts. So let's continue. Of course, that's too close. And insert. I will not insert the branch now. Again, it's not enough time. So everything gets green. And if you now make changes, either in P&ID or in 3D, for example, let's modify this tag here, 9100. You will either recognize this here because of a different color, but of course, if the tree is long and you will not recognize it, then you can just open that and you will get all the differences. You see there's also something with the pump that was from another demo. So you see in P&ID it's 9100, in 3D it's 9175. So as they are still linked, it's just that there is a difference of value. And of course the tag as well. So you can make a right click and zoom off the 3D object to the 3D object, which is now here. And so then you can decide, okay, that's okay, I want to copy. So copy from P&ID to 3D. And then the sometimes I have to refresh. Now it's green again. And I see there is a question. Can you compare the sloped angle between 2D and 3D? Well, I don't think so because of pipe. Unless it's a property. If you give, so the question is it possible to compare the slope between P90 and 3D? Well, in P90, you usually have only a slope symbol. So what you could do is you could type in or create a property for slope for the line segments, and you enter the slope value there. And in 3D, you do the same. Then you could compare, but the graphical slope in 3D cannot be compared because that's geometrical, let's say, however you draw it or route the pipe with a slope, and you don't do this in P90. So, and I did not ever see a P90 drawn with a 2% slope or so. Would be, usually it's a slope symbol. But you could use a property and compare the property between P90 and 3D. So what else? Oh, PlantExpress tool. So now it's, again, it's never enough time. So let's concentrate on some other functions. First of all, this here, that's our Plant Project Manager. It has a lot of possibilities, and let me summarize it. PlantExpress tools contain a lot of CAD-related functions, which I show in the next session, and also a lot of administrative functions, which I show on Thursday. And we developed our Plant Project Manager, for example, that's part of PlantExpress tools, because we cannot extend the context menu of Autodesk Project Manager the way we want, or in any way. Also, our symbols palette is part of PlantExpress tools. So a friend of mine said, if we continue like this, we almost have every user interface of P90 especially replaced. So the symbols palette is a replacement of the tool palette of P90 because, it's much more convenient. There is also our own properties palette, and a lot of functions which I explain in the next session. Last, not last, is PlantLink. This allows you to link external data like a catalog or data from an ERP system to mostly to your P90 data. PlantLink doesn't care. It could also be linked to your 3D data, but mostly it's used for P90. So that's one use case, linking external data from some sort of catalog or database to your P90 objects. Another purpose is to improve the data flow in P90. So, for example, if you have an control valve with an actuator, in P90 you cannot configure that the actuator actually acquires something from the control valve. But there is a relationship in the database. So we can actually use PlantLink to improve the data flow within your P90s, especially the P90s, because there are a lot of more relationships you can use than you can use in the project setup. And now last, PlantSync. Just very quickly, PlantSync allows you to transfer your project configuration or parts of your project configuration from one project to another project or to other projects, so also to multiple other projects. And the way it works is very simple. So currently I have this project open, though this is what is proposing to me. Then I will just use maybe this one here. I can select also browse from a certain folder or select multiple projects. That's not actually the point. Then I selected here, it's supposed to check the selection lists. And in P90, there is also one for 3D. And it's supposed to check, are there added classes, removed classes, are there changes in classes, properties. And so you can check or predefine what should be compared. So first step is a comparison. So it runs through. And it would do this for every, so if I say I want to transfer or synchronize the settings between one project and 10 other projects, I would do this for all 10 projects. And so, for example, the selection list, if I go here, you can see okay, all these values would be deleted if I click on commit changes, which I will not do. And these 3 properties are new. The status, there are some changes. So here you see there is some description has been added. For the PNID classes, for example, here you see, okay, there is some change. There is a different selection list, and there are additional properties selected. There can be also a new class with additional, well, properties, of course. Yeah, additional properties, they actually should be here. So you can see that, you can disable, you can say uncheck that. And for example, if you want to only transfer the changes for the pipeline groups, if I would press a commit change, that it would go through and it would make the changes in the target project or projects. So that concludes my webinar at this hour. And all of you who are online and some more also registered for the session in approximately 20 minutes. So since there will be no new users, I will skip over the introduction of our company and the agenda and so on. Then we have more time for the functions I want to show. Okay, so thanks for your attention and see you in 20 minutes. Bye.